Tonight, the arrest of a teacher police say took secret videos of students and who now faces hundreds of child pornography charges.
Battling the Arctic air over the next 24 hours, even challenging a record. And we're also watching yet another winter storm.
In Lancaster City, a man arrested, a house severely damaged. You want to find out why. That story coming up.
Penn State has landed one of the state's biggest football recruits, and he's from Harrisburg.
And working for you, getting results. Some electric providers are now providing refunds. The news starts now.
Now, from the station working for you, this is ABC27 News in high definition.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Al Ganoza.
I'm Alicia Richards. Glad you're with us. Winter is not done with us yet. We have near record cold tonight.
And we're keeping our eye on another potential snowstorm on Sunday into Monday. Eric Finkenbinder's at the Storm Track set of the latest. Eric.
Never ends, Al, does it?
No.
Never ends. Hey, we've got some areas that are in the single digits. I want to show you that later on. Currently in Harrisburg, though, it won't be long. I should say Carlisle. We've got 11 degrees looking at the abc27 Bureau in Carlisle, and you can see it feels like temperatures that are sub-zero with the winds at about 8 miles an hour. So we still have the winds, which I expected. Now, later on tonight, as winds die down, our temperatures will be dropping even more. We're going to go for an average low of 3. There will be areas that will be colder. As a matter of fact, I do expect some temperatures sub-zero in a couple of spots here by Friday morning. You can see the record low 1 below in 1934. And then, yes, we are looking at some snow here moving into next week. Now, that's still 4 days away. I think the biggest question I've been getting, Al and Alicia, is Sunday, because we got a lot of things happening on Sunday. Right now, it would be generally light and perhaps some rain showers on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. The snow really doesn't crank up until we get in here to Monday. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit, Al.
All right, thanks, Eric. Turning now to a developing story. A York County teacher is facing charges tonight after police found hundreds of child porn videos and pictures on his computer.
He taught 7th and 8th grade at Dover Intermediate School. Police say he took secret pictures of some of his students, although none of those were pornographic. We turn now to our Carissa Schatzer live at Dover Intermediate. Carissa.
Hey, Alicia and Al. Well, parents I talked to say that they are shocked and disturbed. Police started investigating a Dover Intermediate School teacher after a 12-year-old female student reported that he touched and squeezed her thigh. Now, this afternoon, police arrested 46-year-old Matthew Puderball. He's charged with 661 counts of possessing child pornography. Investigators searched Puderball's home computer, where they found those 661 images of children engaged in sexual acts. Police say none of those pictures were of Dover students. Investigators also took Puderball's phone, where they say they found videos of female Dover Intermediate School students. Police say those videos were focused in on inappropriate parts of female students. Investigators say some of the videos were taken at an angle that showed the girls' underwear. Similar videos were found on Puderball's home computer. The school district has suspended him. Parents are relieved that Puderball is no longer at the school.
When you have, kids of his age and school, it could happen to them very easily, just as much as it did to anybody who was involved in the intermediate school.
The school will be offering counseling and support services to students and staff here tomorrow. And as for the police department, they say that they will be filing additional charges when their investigation is over. Working for you live in Dover, Carissa Schatzer, ABC27 News.
All right, Carissa, thank you. And a man is in custody after prompting a lockdown at a York City elementary school this afternoon. Police say there was no sign of a gun at Phineas Davis Elementary School, and that's despite initial reports. But it does appear that a student's father showed up and his daughter let him in. When the security system kept him from going through a second set of double doors in the lobby, police say he then became destructive and caused significant amount of damage to the lobby. The school went into lockdown. Parents were alerted and students were bussed out to nearby Good Elementary.
We, of course, will be taking a look at the entire process after we have all the reports in, and we're going to sit down with the city police and with our own school police to take a look at this incident and what we can do better, but we believe that the security worked.
When I finally did hug him, he started crying and he was scared.
The father's name has not been released. Police officers will be posted at Phineas Davis Elementary tomorrow as a precaution.
Also in New York tonight, police were called to a shooting in the city that sent one man to the hospital. This happened just before 8 on the 700 block of Cleveland Avenue at West Jackson Street. When police arrived, they found a male victim with multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to York Hospital in unknown condition. No word on a suspect.
An afternoon fire in Lancaster City has been ruled arson. The man accused of setting it is the home's former owner.
He was arrested after the house went up in flames, and that is only the half of it. Dan Carrigan is in Lancaster County with the details.
A strange incident played out in this section of Lancaster and ended up with a man arrested and a home nearly destroyed.
The windows were boarded up, but that is only part of the work that needs to be done. The owners of this place declined to comment, but instead let the damage inside do all the talking. What a mess. This is what's left of a home on the 500 block of West Vine Street after a fire broke out Thursday afternoon. It's been ruled arson. The man officials say is responsible is in custody.
It unfolded very quickly.
When police got here, they found a man inside armed.
He showed up at one of the windows displaying a handgun, and about a minute later we noticed that smoke was coming from the basement of the house.
So the man police say had the gun, 50-year-old Frank Matt from Lancaster, came out and was promptly arrested. Turns out Matt is the former owner of this place. It was foreclosed on.
Apparently the previous owner or occupant was causing problems with the current owner.
This was actually the second time police showed up here. The first, the current owner found Matt in the house. The second, according to police, Matt passed the new owner who was trying to install new locks of all things, and Matt locked himself inside. Only two later, find himself in handcuffs.
You know, this house that he just purchased has now been destroyed. It's very unfortunate. It's kind of tragic. I mean, here's a person who, you know, lived at the house, doesn't live there anymore, and the person who does own it is there to, you know, make repairs and make it, you know, livable, however he's going to do it, and then he's obviously having problems.
Early on into the investigation, fire officials did say the worst damage was in the basement. Working for you in Lancaster City, Dan Carrigan, ABC 27 News.
And police also told us tonight they found a loaded handgun inside that house.
Police say a Harrisburg man is facing charges for organizing dog-fighting rings in his backyard. Investigators say an officer discovered Anthony Bellamy along with two underage boys fighting two dogs in Bellamy's backyard on 13th Street. Investigators say the two dogs were forced in a makeshift ring to fight while one of the boys taped it on his cell phone. The dogs suffered cuts to their faces, chest, and necks along with other wounds. Bellamy was arrested and released on bail. He's been ordered to have no contact with animals. The Central Pennsylvania Animal Alliance is now caring for his dog. New tonight, police in Cumberland County need your help finding a bank robbery suspect. State police say this man robbed the M&T Bank on Forge Road in Boiling Springs just after 4. They say he demanded cash from the teller, put it in his bag, then took off. Police say he did not display a weapon and no one was hurt.
Police are searching for a third suspect in a massive heroin bust. A raid on a Carlisle home Tuesday led them to an apartment in Mechanicsburg. And there, police found 1,400 bags of heroin and several guns. Investigators say heroin is cheap and abuse is becoming an epidemic.
We've had an increase in heroin overdose calls here in the borough, where in years past we would maybe get one a year. Now we're getting one every 6 weeks or so.
Police arrested 2 men. They are still looking for a third, Noel Cuevas.
The York County District Attorney has dropped murder charges against a man for a case that dates back 12 years. John Ruth is now a free man after spending 2 years behind bars. Prosecutors charged him in 2012, 10 years after the shooting death of a Windsor Township man. The DA says this was a drug-related murder and dismissed the case because prosecutors did not have the evidence to successfully try him. Officials say Ruth's DNA was found under farmers' fingernails, but no other substantial evidence was recovered.
He maintained his innocence with the investigators. He maintained his innocence with everyone who he talked to. He's been in jail for 2 years for a crime he said that he did not commit.
Truth may sleep for a while, but truth does not die. We will get there.
The DA says murder charges may be refiled against Ruth.
New tonight, Penn State has landed one of the state's biggest football recruits, and he's from Harrisburg.
When James Franklin took over as head coach, he said he wanted to dominate the state in recruiting. Josh Reed is here with more. Josh.
Yeah, this is a pretty good start for Franklin. Bishop McDevitt's star running back Andre Robinson is staying close to home to play his college ball. I spoke with Andre just before he made the announcement on Twitter. He said it came down to Penn State and Ohio State. James Franklin gets his first win against Urban Meyer. Robinson verbally commits to Penn State. I've had a chance to watch Andre around 20 times in person over the last few years, and he is the best running back prospect I've seen in the 8 football seasons I've been here. Keep in mind, I wasn't in Harrisburg when LaShawn McCoy actually played at McDevitt, but this kid is an absolutely huge get for Franklin and his coaching staff. Andre told me back in January that he was set on going to Penn State until Bill O'Brien left, and then he had to rethink some things. Ohio State started to show some interest, but earlier this week he met with Franklin and was sold. Now keep in mind, Andre will be a senior at McDevitt next season. He says location, coaches, and teammates were a huge factor in picking Penn State.
All right, thank you, Josh. Route 11 in Camp, and you'll be back, Josh, right?
I'll be back.
You'll be back for sports. Route 11 in Camp Hill is back open after a construction vehicle overturned earlier tonight. The flatbed truck was carrying a forklift. It was on Harvard Avenue, turning onto 1115 where the truck flipped. No one was hurt, but fuel spilled on the road. 11 and 15 South was shut down for a little over an hour.
You know all those public bus drivers that never showed up for work in Harrisburg this week? We could never get you a straight answer about what was going on until now. Turns out it is a labor dispute. In fact, today, Capital Area Transit's board voted to discuss a temporary contract for the drivers. Talks had stalled last fall. The union wants more drivers hired and a 2% wage increase to $52,000 a year maximum base pay. Outside Pittsburgh, the Seton Hill women's lacrosse team played its first game since the deadly bus accident on the Turnpike last year in Middlesex Township, Cumberland County. Their pregnant coach and her unborn son were killed. The bus driver, who'd had a heart attack or stroke behind the wheel, was also killed. In statements tonight, the athletes said they will continue to be inspired by Quigley and they won't forget her lessons in both lacrosse and life. Sue Paterno is in the hospital after a fall today on Penn State's campus. A family spokesperson says Joe Paterno's widow is expected to be released in a day or two. No specifics on her condition were given, but the spokesman said her attitude and resolve are great.
In national news, gay marriage is now legally recognized in Kentucky. A federal judge threw out the state's ban on gay marriages and signed an order directing officials to immediately recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states and countries. Kentucky's Attorney General has asked for a delay, which has not been ruled upon. Senate Republicans have blocked a Democratic bill that would expand health, education, and other benefits for millions of veterans. Republicans complained the $21 billion bill was too expensive. They planned an amendment that would have cut the bill in half and added sanctions against Iran for its nuclear program. But Majority Leader Harry Reid blocked the vote.
New nutrition labels could be shocking to a lot of people. That's still ahead tonight.
Also coming up, some electric providers, mostly one, are actually kicking out some refunds. Hundreds complained about being price gouged, and now the utilities are shelling out some bucks.
And you may want to think twice before taking that next selfie. At least stand far apart. We'll explain that coming up.
You're watching ABC 27, Central Pennsylvania's news leader.
Well, we can start with how cold it is out there right now.
Wrapping up February, the next 24 hours will be the coldest that we've seen for a good chunk of February as well. So we had a very busy February. Might as well end it with extreme Arctic air.
Yeah, why not?
And let's start in March with another snowstorm. Just keep this trend going. Here's a satellite and radar. We are clear now. Let's move into March. Let's see if we can change things up. So there we are on the Monday. As I mentioned, it's for us, it's not going to be the big one, but it's just going to be just another one of those snow events that we've had that has really just slowed things down for 24 hours, and then we stay pretty cold moving into the first week of March.
Well, if we have to hear it, I'd rather hear it from you. So there you have it.
Thank you.
Don't you agree, Al?
I do. Yes, it sounds so much better. All right, still to come on ABC 27 News Nightside. The president introduces a program designed to help young minority men. And a happy ending, so to speak, on a series of stories we've done about alleged price gouging in the utility industry. And later.
Yeah, they were handing out gold at the Giants Center. Highlights from 3 district championship games later in sports.
Your complaints about soaring electric bills are being heard. We're getting numerous reports of companies giving rebates to angry customers.
People have been shocked by electric bills that have suddenly quadrupled. Dennis Owens reports.
In January, it cost $162 to heat Suzanne Shaw's Susquehanna Township condo. Then came February's bill.
$431.
She had a variable rate with Pennsylvania Gas and Electric. It jumped from 11 cents a kilowatt hour to 22 cents. Suzanne's first 2 complaint calls to PG&E went unreturned.
So I called the Public Utilities Commission, and that's when I found out there were a lot of complaints. Plus, I saw the article on ABC27 about it as well. And finally, I called a 3rd time, and the lady told me, well, we're sending you a refund check.
Her refund? $165.60.
It takes me back down to what the bill probably should have been, so I was very happy to get that back, but it would have been nice not to have had to pay the $431 up front first.
How can PG&E just hand out checks to disgruntled customers? I asked its parent company CEO.
There are people that cannot afford the rates that the wholesale market has spiked to, and we are doing our part to help them. We are absorbing part of that price increase ourselves, many times taking a loss.
But why, I asked, are a majority of the complaints aimed at one company, Pennsylvania Gas and Electric?
Because we are one of the largest marketers in Pennsylvania. It's a matter of numbers.
And the numbers Suzanne most cares about are the ones that are back in her bank account.
It wasn't pleasant. I'm glad that it ended on a positive note, but I would not want to have to go through that again.
Dennis Owens, ABC 27 News.
The Attorney General, the PUC, and the Consumer Advocate are all investigating high electric bills. And still ahead for you tonight, how my brother's keeper could help young minority men.
Also potentially troubling news about a common practice among young people and among TV news anchors. I guess we do this too. Coming up after the break, word that selfies may be actually spreading lice. President Obama has launched an initiative designed to help young minority men. It is called My Brother's Keeper. Businesses and community groups would invest in youth programs designed to keep kids in school and out of court. The effort is also expected to improve access to higher education. The president said boys and young men of color consistently do worse in society, and he personalized the message.
When I was their age, I was a lot like them. I didn't have a dad in the house. And I was angry about it, even though I didn't necessarily realize it at the time.
Several foundations have pledged at least $200 million over 5 years to support the program.
No excuses.
Several restaurants in Central Florida are charging customers more to offset the cost of the Affordable Care Act. Starting next year, businesses will be required to provide health insurance to all full-time employees. One large restaurant, Gators Dockside, said its 1% surcharge will help cover that and the additional staffer and consulting firm they hired to make sure they're complying with the law and to track workers' hours and wages as is required by Obamacare.
The government is proposing new labels for food that won't require as much math work. They would reflect portions people normally eat instead of just minuscule portions that reflect nobody's appetites. The proposal would also make the calorie counts on the labels more prominent, and for the first time the labels would have to list any sugars that are added by manufacturers, but the new labels are probably several years away.
A health expert or a health alert before you snap that next selfie. A lice expert in Chicago says she is seeing 40% more teens with lice, and they caught it from taking selfies. Often in the pictures, people are touching heads, and that's when lice can jump from one person to the next.
Ew.
Stay with us. Sports is next.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, Bishop McDevitt running back Andre Robinson verbally committed to play football at Penn State. He told me that it came down to the Nittany Lions in Ohio State. James Franklin gets his first win over Urban Meyer. Robinson will be a senior next season. Donald for the hoop. The Buckeyes trailed by just 2 points with 5 seconds to go. Here's a 3 for the win. It is no good. The crowd storms the court. Penn State upsets Ohio State 65-63. That's a good sports.
Have a great night.